That was good.
You know what wasn't good?
What?
Our fight.
Oh my God.
Listen, townspeople, we have something to tell you. And one is something that we will agree on, which is the fact that it's been a long week.
It has been a long
and we're tired.
week. It's been a long week. It's tiresome. We're recording on a Sunday, which is we never do.
Literally, when you see this go up, some of you who have actually proved us in a way that, like, whenever we put it up, it does make a difference, because when it's been going up like around 1 a.m., 2 a.m., whatever, I wake up like at 8 or something, 8, 9 a.m. to see, the video posted, and there's already like 100 or so views. So some of you who are, I guess, on different time zones are finding it beneficial for the episode to be up before 8 a.m. New York City time.
Mm-hmm.
But as you're watching this, literally, I guess, less than 24 hours ago, we have been having this conversation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We got into a fight, and it wasn't intentional. I did not mean to start a fight. I just meant to be nice to my sister and to try to alleviate some stress that she may or may not have on her plate. And it turned into something that was not at all what I intended. And here we are.
Here we are. And listen, I don't know how you are with your friends and how you fight. Like, whenever you have close friends, like, sometimes I hear people being like, oh, like, I never fight with my friend. Or the opposite, being like, oh my God, we're fighting all the time. And it's like, I have different kind of friendships with different people. There are some friends which I will never, ever have a fight with, because it's just not the dynamic. Like, the personalities are different to where, like, it doesn't lend itself to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we've both found out that, like, you can be alpha in certain ways introvertedly, and I'm just alpha in general. And it's like kind of interesting to like figure out like how we communicate, because I feel like,
well, that's the point of like real quick.
I'm Pioneer Peru.
I'm Trailblazer Nick, and this is Pioneers and Trailblazers. No, what I was gonna say is, the beauty of being an adult in my early 20s and post grad has just been realizing that communication is so important when it comes to developing and deepening relationships, and it's okay to sometimes have issues with a friend, and then if you talk them out, they get resolved. I mean, more often than not. And that's actually crazy to learn, because I used to be so I am pretty much conflict averse. I hate it.
Yeah.
And so anytime there is conflict, I try to ignore it. But the last couple of months, I've really been kind of addressing the issues that I have with people in a way that we communicate and we get through it, and then I'm like, oh my God, our friendship is so much stronger because of it.
And I mean, funny you say that, because I like how we're starting in a really like just honest.
We're easing our way into it before we get into the dick and balls.
We're dick and balls. Don't worry, people. We'll talk, because we had sex.
Oh my God, we did.
But anyway, I guess like I don't even know how to say this, but with us, it really has never been. We have never had an argument, quote unquote, in which one of us is just like, okay, Nick, I have to talk to you about something. Like, we've never had any of that.
No, it's usually in the moment.
But yes, exactly. So like the times that we have had arguments has been like, oh, something was brought up, and then like we're just responding how we respond. Mm-hmm. And like, I know I can be volatile.
Oh no, girl, you're like you go for it.
But it's also like I don't know, like obviously it's like a defense mechanism, but like it's so funny because someone's like, Nick, even when I'm telling him about something else, like for example, like when I show you an email, I'm just like, this person's yelling at me, right? They hate me.
No, and then I read it and I go, that is just a normal email. That
the email said, good afternoon, Mr. Flores. Like, they hate me, right?
You're like, we hope you're having a wonderful day. What did they mean by that? What do they know that I don't know?
Why wonderful? Why are they assuming it was a wonderful day?
Why are they telling me what to do? No, that's literally what the conversation was today.
Well, the conversation today was about something else that like was like, I guess like us. In the way in the way that we work together, and I think we both realized that like different things stress us out, mm-hmm. And I think it's really important for both of us to know how we navigate stress and things that trigger our stress. Mm-hmm. And interestingly enough, Nick brought up something that like triggered something for me, and it happened literally at the end of our shift. as we knew we would have to come record, and like, you know, it's been a long day. We've been up for a while already, and so it was just fucking hilarious now looking back that, like, of course this came up as our shifts are ending, and then it's like, oh, here's a comment that's gonna completely trigger you. And
no, and I was, and the thing was, is like, I did not expect that reaction at all. I was expecting, like, a, oh my gosh, thank you so much. like, oh, like, thank you for being so understanding, like, whatever. And then that was not what happened. But that's okay, because we learned something new.
Yes.
And we got through it.
I think what I've learned, once again.
And of course, we had an audience for it.
Oh, mama. And it is so crazy too, because like people are used to just seeing us kiki kaka. Like anytime somebody walks into like our mutual workspace, which is like Nick and I don't share the same job, but there is the one hub gub, you know, the hub area, the hub space where you call your office,
where everyone congregates.
And so anytime someone's in and out, like they always find Nick. They always find my accent comes out when I'm like being real.
So what? You're fake all the time?
Yeah, exactly. People could tell that we were having an argument.
Oh, did you see?
Because usually people come in and they're like, oh my God, you silly.
Wait,
like,
no. Did you see? Like, came in and she was like ready to say something, and all of a sudden she looked at us and we were like arguing, and all of a sudden she was like, oh. And then she like
really?
went, yes. Because I saw her come in, and I was gonna be like, hey, you know, like just address and be like, oh my God, hey, good to see you, girl. But she like saw us going at it, and then she was like, oh, yeah. And just like went towards her stuff and like left the room.
Oh, y'all, tells people were literally coming into the fucking office space. They listened to us, and they were literally just like quietly getting their things, quietly hanging their coats. Like, yeah, they went to like the POS station to like really quietly like take his receipts out and just be like, okay, like,
yeah, I'm gonna go.
Did not say bye.
No, did not say bye. So many
people are always like, okay, bye, girls. Oh, people were literally, I gotta go.
You know, they like ran out of there.
They're like, we need to get out of here.
All that to say is, we got through it, girl.
We got through it, and if I'm gonna say what I learned, here's townspeople for you to know about Nick. Nick's reaction to stress is he likes to have, like, he always is concerned about time, and so he likes to have a cushion with time. He doesn't like to be rushed, and I honor that and I respect that. And I think it's really important for me to know, like, things that will upset you, will make you anxious. And so, like, I know, like, you know, running behind is a big thing for Nick. Like, for Nick to be on time to work is just like, woof, like, I barely made it. I'm always
meanwhile I'm there 15 minutes early.
Exactly.
And I'm like
yeah, he's like, oh my God. So he gets to sit down, he orders his like Dunkin', and he gets his like muffin and his iced coffee and just sits and just, you know, gets himself ready. I'm not like that. Like I'm always like perennially fucking like 15 minutes behind because I'm getting ready, or I'm trying to like look my best, or like whatever, you know, time's fleeting for me. But I'm also in a really weird way controlling and like hyper organized in my own way. But like timing for you is very important. And like you don't like to feel like you're rushed.
No,
you don't like to feel like you're gonna be late, and you don't like to feel like you're not gonna have enough time. For me, it's like, regardless of time, if I have to get something done, I'll get it done, you know. And I feel like what you now, you know, as we can hash this out before we get into the real meat of the episode, the townspeople need to know we're real people. We're real, and we're just like you. And we're just like you, except I got recognized again yesterday. Anyway,
well, you'll get into it.
For me, it's like, it doesn't matter how, or if I'm running behind, or how much time I have, or whatever. Like, if I say I'm gonna do something, I'll do it. And so you were being very gracious in trying to like care for me in how I'm handling something. And so it came across to me as if you were basically implying that like I wasn't like,
you don't have it together.
I don't have it together, or I don't have the time. But ultimately we realized that like
that wasn't the intention.
Regardless of whatever time. For me, it's just like, I can be running behind, but like I'll get something done, like, or I'll finish it, or I'll commit, and I'll be a woman of my word, regardless of whether that meant like, you know, I rushed through it or whatever. Like I'm always trying, and I'll always, you know what? Okay, whatever. But it's been great.
That's good. We did it. We lived.
And as it was done, we're like, okay, well, we're recording the
Today.
episode.
Well, wow, we gotta go record.
And then we're gonna go record. So here we are. I guess that also explains why I look ugly right now. Sorry, everyone.
Oh my god.
I'm looking,
Mind you, fully changed outfits. Was like I had did
it's not an outfit. I just changed because I had already worn a top. And like Nick was just like, oh, you've never repeat. I'm like, no, I've always worn something different for the townspeople. It's my Carrie Bradshaw element of it all. I'm never going to repeat an outfit on this podcast.
And I said some of us have capsule wardrobes because we care about the environment and we don't overconsume.
But I'm not wearing anything I don't already own. All these things I have had.
Sure.
What are you trying to say? I don't care about the environment?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You hate the environment, Greta Thunberg. She's gonna knock on your door, bitch, and she's gonna stab you.
And I'm gonna fucking get her arrested again. I'm gonna be like, take her out.
Yeah, and
take her ass out.
She's gonna stab you in the gay little stomach.
And I love the way she was getting dragged out of like her latest arrest. Like
she just lets them just drag her.
She literally just like, okay, here we go.
Me too, girl. That's what I would do. I'd be like, I'm tired, girl. Carrie.
I don't know, luxury too, though. I mean, like, girl, some people don't have like the audacity to just be like, all right, here I go again, getting arrested.
Well, I mean, she is a child, so it's like it's a little bit. The system is a little bit nicer, you know.
Well, I mean, we don't have to get into that.
But we don't have to get into that. But I do want to get into my. I do want to get into my week. It technically wasn't even this past week. It was the week before, but we didn't record.
Oh my god! But for as tired as we are, we do have a lot to go over.
I did. Yeah. Should I?
You can go first.
Okay, so I had sex. Not this past Thursday, but the Thursday before. Everybody clap! Yay! The guy that I had sex with is, I mentioned him. Did you
tell me this already?
I didn't tell you the story. No. So if you listen to the pod, if you're a townsperson, true and true, it wasn't the last person I had sex with, because the last person I had sex with was the 71-year-old, but the guy who I fucked right before that, who. He's like a bald man. He's like in his 40s, like mid to late 40s. He's got money. He has a nice paying job, open relationship. I've never seen his partner. I don't think his partner lives with him. His partner must live like in a different city, or like, I don't know what's going on there. Cause like I'll get into it. But anyway, so we had made plans to like meet up on, I think it was like Tuesday or something that week. And then no, I was supposed to go over on Sunday. No, Monday. It was Monday because I didn't have writers group that week because we postponed it because there were a few people who couldn't come to writers group. So Monday, I decided to go for a walk across like the West Side Highway.
Oh yes, and we talked on the phone.
And so I was waiting because this guy, while I was at work, was like, oh, I would really love to see you today. Like, what time do you get out of work? And I was like, I get out of work at 4. I was like, do you think you'll be around at that point? And he was like, oh, I'm working from home today. Like, I have a couple of meetings, but like I should be free around that time. And I said, great. So I'm at work. I'm finishing up work for the day. I open up Grindr. I'm like reloading, to see if he's online. He hasn't been online for like 3 hours. So I was like, you know what? I messaged him. I said, hey, I'm out of work. Just like, let me know. I'm still in Manhattan. Like, I'm going to be here for a bit. Just like, let me know if you want me to come over. And so then I decided to go for a walk because it was a beautiful day. So I called Peru and we're just like chatting and stuff, filling each other in on like whatever was going on, what happened over the weekend. And then I'm at that point, by the time I like finished the call and like I finished my walk, I'm like up near like 45th, 46th Street, and I'm sitting at this little park, and I'm like still on Grindr, and this man still isn't online. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, you know what, whatever. And so I tried to get dick from somebody else, and it just wasn't happening, and like nothing was biting. And I was like, wow, damn, am I ugly? I was like, what happened? Anyway, I go home. The next day he messages me and he was like, I'm so sorry. He was like, I got like a new project from work. Like I was so like busy with it. Like I totally forgot. And I was like, girl, whatever, it's fine. And then he was like, are you around on Thursday? And I was like, oh, I'm like work, whatever. But I might be free after work. And he's like, well, if you're around in the day before you go into work, like we could fuck. We recorded the pod that day, for last week's pod that day. So I was like, no, I can't. Maybe I'll come after work. And he was like, okay, let me know. So I worked that day. And then at work, he messages me and he was like, I really want you to come over. He's like, I have dinner, like a work dinner. And he's like, I'll let you know when I'm like done. I should be finished around the time that you're done with work. And I said, great. So I get off of work, and at that point, he hadn't been online, and I was like, well, he hasn't messaged me. I was like, I'm not going to wait around for like an hour for this man. Because it was late. It was like 10:30, 11, whatever. I was like, I'm not going to wait for this man to maybe message me and like whatever. Otherwise, I could just go home. So I'm like getting ready to leave. All of a sudden, he messages me. He's like, I'm just leaving the dinner now. He's like, I'm on my way home. I'll meet you there. And I was like, oh, Okay.
Damn.
So, mind you, I did douche before I left, so I was ready to go. I was like, well, no, I had douche during the day, and so then I did like two pass-throughs or whatever, but I wanted to do a safety one, and I thought I had my bulb in my backpack, so I was like, we're good to go. So I start walking towards this man's apartment. I smoke a joint, like, because the last time that I had sex with him, he was like, oh, you should maybe like take an edible or smoke some weed before the next time you come. He's like, just so you're a little bit more relaxed, because his dick is big, like girthy, like. Oh, like
girth is what, and I also double, triple, quadruple confirm that like girth is what actually makes the difference with how much it hurts.
Yeah,
because at least for me, like if it's like,
if it's long as whatever.
Also, a good question about douche water. What temperature of water do you use? Do you use cold water when you fill up your douche bowl?
I do like room temp.
Medium room temp.
Yeah. Because you're not supposed to do warm, because that's supposed to be bad, right?
Well, I don't know. I always feel like if I do warm, it'll just make things looser.
Yeah, I think that's like the thing.
Like in my head, I'm just like, oh, if it's cold, then it'll be less.
But have you ever done it where it's like too cold and then it like hurts?
It feels like literally it's going through your body. It's like the chill. Mm-hmm. The chill's going through your fucking hole.
It kind of feels like someone's like it kind of feels like someone's stabbing like your colon or something. Like I don't know
that extreme, but it feels
if it's like cold. If it's like cold, and like because I do it like sometimes like I'll douche before I take a shower, just so then that way like I can then wash my butt cheeks and everything like in the shower, and we'll like all clean, good to go.
Do you ever let it out in the shower?
Yeah, but like there's sometimes
I only do it when it's the last one, when I know it's not gonna be girl.
That's what me too. That's like usually that's what, because one time in college, I don't know why this happened, but but in sophomore year of college, I'm living with three girls, three of my closest friends. We share one bathroom. And mind you, my sophomore year was my slut year. Like that was the year I was having sex literally every other day. Like I was going out to meet like a grinder trick.
Yeah, famously, that's the year where everything happened in your life. It really went downhill from there.
No, yeah, we really peaked there. And there was a night where like I guess I douched. And at that point, I was just douching straight in the shower, like whatever. And then if there was
crazy,
and if anything came out, girl, we would just after the shower was over, we would get some paper towel, toilet paper, scoop that shit out. But I guess I forgot to do that. Like I think I was in such a rush because it was like late at night, and all of my roommates were sleeping, and like I was like running to get out of like the dorm to like go meet up with a man. And
proving my point, everyone. Nick does not like to be rushed because he leaves fucking poop in the shower.
No, because then literally the next morning, I had come home from this hookup, and like I woke up the next day, and my roommate was like, did you have a hookup last night? And I was like, yeah, why? And she was like, I think you left something in the shower. And I was like, huh? And she's like, I really need to take a shower. Do you like mind if you just like clean it really quick? And I was like, oh my God, I was mortified. I was like, I am so sorry. I cannot believe that happened. I would never allow that. Had I been in a normal state of mind, like this would have never happened. I truly don't know how that happened. Like I wasn't under the influence of drugs. I wasn't drunk. I like whatever. I just think it was because I was in such a rush, and the guy was like, he's like, I'm sending you an Uber now, and I was like, I was like, it's coming. So I had to like quickly rush. So I left that in the shower, and I now will not do that. I will put it in the toilet. I will push the douche water out in the toilet.
Yeah, of course.
But then I'll do a pass through. I'll do a pass through in the shower, like one last one. Just
the last one. If I'm about to hop in a shower, I'll do it there just so I can just wash everything, and like I know everything's coming out fine. Yeah. So it's much more of just like, okay, like let's get this, girl.
Get it, girly. So that happened. So I go over to this man's apartment. I get there. Same situation that it was last time. Lovely building. The man at the front desk welcomed me in. I go upstairs. I'm high as fuck. He opens the door. He's very sweet. He's a very nice man. He is a little tipsy from his dinner, and he immediately just like pushes me up against his wall and just starts making out with me, and it's like really hot. Okay. And I was like, okay, here we go. And then he was like, we were like making out, and he was like undressing me, and he's like, what do you want to do? Like, what should we do? And I was like, well, I would really love to rinse off really quick in your shower if that's okay. And he was like, I was thinking we would shower together. And I was like, okay, cool. And he's like, but you go in there first, do what you need to do, and then just like call me in when you're ready. And I said, great. So I take my backpack into the
That's actually really sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Nice.
He's a very sweet man. He's very nice. And so then I go into his bathroom and I go into my backpack. I forgot to pack my bulb. And immediately I was like, no. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I literally double checked.
Because for this one, you can't just like wing it for this one.
Well, no, because the last time I winged it and I got really nervous that I was going to have an accident. But at that point I wasn't on my fiber supplements. Like I hadn't been on them again. And so then I am back now on my fiber game. So it's a much different experience when I'm having bowel movements and also like having sex. So I was like, you know what? I douched before we met up to record the pod before work. So I was like, you know what? I should be fine. I honestly might be fine. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna worry about it. I get into the shower. I basically just like finger myself profusely. Nothing comes out. I was like, great. I like smell my fingers. We smell good. I was like, okay. I was like, we're fine.
It's the loving girl.
And so then I call him into the shower. I like call him in. I was like, toodaloo. Like, you can come in now. And he's like, yeah, I can come in. And I was like, yeah, you can come in.
What was her name?
What? I'm not gonna dox him.
Just his name. I mean, I guess whatever. But like,
well, no, because this actually ties into it. Because there's
Mr. Sheffield, like just like you peeking out of the door like this, like.
Well, the thing was, is he was really. I'll get into it. He was really into like during sex, like saying my name, being like, "Oh, Nick, yeah." I was so high, girl. There was a moment in time where I forgot his name, and I was like, and I thought, and a part of me was like, is he saying my name so much because he wants me to say his name? Is he trying to signal? And I'd be like, oh yeah, that feels so good. And he's like, yeah, that feels good, Nick. And I was like, yeah, yeah, it feels good. I mean, I remembered his name, but I was like, oh god, I was so high. I was like, is that his name? I was like, what if I call him the wrong name right now? Would he get offended? So I just like, I was like, yeah, baby, just keep doing that. When I don't know for sure in their name, I just call him baby or daddy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he gets in the shower and then we're like in the shower or whatever, and I wasn't gonna get my hair wet because like that would just be like, it would just cause more problems than
what a
good.
girl.
He was like, can I shampoo your hair? I was like, huh? And he was like, he's like I'm really into long hair, can I just like wash your hair? And I was like, oh, okay, sure. So then he like pushes me up into like the water, so it's like all in my face, and I'm like drowning basically. And he's just like touching my hair, and then he like pulls out his like shampoo and like squirts it into his hand and like rubs it on my head and just kind of like goes.
And you're like, what shampoo is this?
And no,
like,
literally, it's not curl friendly. I was like, and I was like, okay. And he like washes my hair or whatever, and then like we're like making out and we're like stroking dicks and like whatever in the shower, and he was like, you're good? And I'm like, he's like, I want to fuck you in the bed now. He's like, let's get out of here. And I was like, okay, great. So mind you, my hair is soaking wet and it's long and it's like, you know, it's getting it. I was like, just the last time I had sex with him, my hair was also kind of wet, and like having long hair, I just like I need to bring a hair tie when I go have sex with dudes now, because it's like I just gotta pull my hair back or something, or get hair clips or whatever. But then we started having sex, and the sex was good. I started off riding him. I was kind of nervous, but because the last time like it did hurt a little bit, but like not bad. But I started riding him, and I slowly lowered myself. I have to start riding, like as much as I say that. I think I said that every episode. But I this like really confirmed that for me. I started riding it, and then girl, he started going to town, fucking me like I was on the set of some porn, and it was the hottest thing. I've like, he was like, we were doing some positions I've never done before.
Like which one?
Like there was one where it's like, he was like, okay, I was kind of like this, laying this way, and then his body, so like my leg was like over his, like our legs were kind of like intertwined. He was fucking me, his head was like facing this way.
So like this?
He was like horizontal, like in between my legs.
So like this?
Yes. And then like holding on to my, and like fucking me like that. And I was like, oh, okay. I literally, there were so many moments where like he would be fucking me and I would be like, oh my god. I literally was like, oh my god, I've never done this before. And he was like, yeah, you like that? And I was like, wait, yeah, sis, keep going.
You're like, pop, person.
I was like, exactly. And then he was like, oh, he's like, I'm gonna fuck you all night. I was like, yeah, babe, do that. And then it got to the point where we were fucking for so long, and he was jerking me off, but then like it got to the point where like my dick was numb, like because he was jerking me off for so long, and like whatever. And I was also just like, we need a break, like my whole like, we just like need a second. And so then I was like, oh, can we like take a second really quick? And he's like, yeah, whatever you need. So then like, we took a second, we were just kind of like chatting and talking and stuff, and He actually like listened to an episode of the pod because he was like,
oh,
he was like, he's like, how's the podcast going? Because like I have my Instagram linked onto my Grinder, and so like obviously it's all like on there, and so then he was like asking me questions about that, and was just like, so like what's the next step, like what are you like working on, and like all this kind of stuff. And
did he mention anything specific?
No. He was like I listened to like one of them, you know, a little bit back. He's like, I need to like check back on it more. He's like it's funny, and I was like, oh, thank you.
Wow.
I was like, you don't have to listen to it, babe, but like, you know, like thanks for trying. And then what happened? And then so then we were like talking about that, and then he was talking to me about his Instagram. He was like, yeah, he's like, my Instagram has just like really kind of like not been gaining any traction recently, and like talking
Well,
to
he's also in the industry?
No, he's an architect, so like, but I guess he was like, he's like in charge of like his firm's Instagram or something. I don't know, like he like is whatever. And he's like, there was like a period of time where he's like, we were doing really well and like had so much like, you know, what's the word, engagement, and then he's like, it's kind of like stopped. And I was like, oh girl, yeah, that's the world of social media, this is what happens. And then he like wanted to fuck more, but then I was like, oh, but we had like we were in the middle of taking a break, and then one thing led to another, and we just jerked each other off, and then we both came. But then at one point when we were fucking, I felt so fish. There was like something, because like having my hair long, and I was like riding him, and my hair was wet, and I was like bouncing up and down, and like my hair, and I was like, and I felt so sexy that day. Like I don't know what it was, but I was like, my body snatched. I look hot as fuck. I was like, this guy is dicking me down. I'm high as hell, and I was like, and I felt so sexy. And then he's like, yeah, that feels good. And I was like, yeah, having sex with you feels really good. And he was like, I love having sex with you. And I was like, oh, thanks. And then he was like, I like you a lot. More than you'll ever know. And I was like, huh? As he's inside of me. And he's like, I was like, oh yeah, you like having sex with me? And he's like, yeah, more than you'll ever know. And I was like, what do you mean by that?
You're like, okay, poetic.
I was like,
okay, Dead Poets Society or whatever.
Tortured Poets Society department. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, girl, you got a full on man, but okay, girl. And then randomly,
more like aisle.
Well, no, and then the thing was like, we finished, so like we jerked each other off, and like I finished, and then he finished. And at that point, like, I had been there. I got to his apartment at, like, 11:30. I didn't leave until, like, 2:30. And I just, like, I ordered, like, oh, my God, we fucked for so long. And then we were, like, in his bed, and he was telling me that he had, like, a work meeting at 9 a.m. the next morning. And so then I was like, okay. I was like, I'm going to just stay for, like, a couple extra minutes. I was thinking this in my head. And I was like, I'm going to get up, go to the bathroom, rinse off, whatever, and then get ready to go. Because I was not going to spend the night. And because it was my weekend the next day, and I was like, you have to be up early. I'm not going to get up early. Like, I deserve to sleep in. And so then all of a sudden, like, we're in his bed, and I like went to the bathroom, and I came back, and I was like, also just like, let me know when you want me to leave. Like, kick me out whenever. Because like, I know you have your meeting in the morning because you mentioned it. Like, feel free, like, no pressure. Like, I'm good to go when you need. And he was like, no, it's fine. You can stay as long as you want. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I mean, okay. I was like, I mean, you do have like your meeting at 9. Like, I don't want to overstay my welcome. And he was like, honestly, if you want to stay all night, you can. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, you want the boyfriend experience?
That's not costume.
I was like, that wasn't on the menu for tonight. But okay. No, and then it was fine. It was like, he's so sweet. I enjoy having sex with him. I will have sex with him again.
Townsperson, thank you for listening.
thank you. No, I'm just kidding. But
I'm not cutting this.
No, it's fine. He's not gonna listen. And if he does, girl, comedy.
Girl, it's good.
You get it. It's part of it. You get it.
It's good.
No. And so then I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna head out. And then he's like, okay. So I went and like rinsed off in his shower and like everything. And then he's like, I'm gonna be gone like for next week for work. Like, I'm gonna be traveling, but like when I'm back, like we need to hang out. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then he messaged me like a couple of days ago while he's on his work trip to just check in and see how I'm doing. And I was like, I'm good, girl.
I like that.
No, he's into it. He's homatized. Like,
well, people that listen to the pod who like may make this happened to me once, like I think like a couple months ago, and I've actually tried to pursue him again, but to no avail. But I don't know because his like Insta was linked and I hadn't checked it yet, and he was hot. He hit me up and he was far away. He was like 12 miles away or whatever, 10 miles. Like, so I was like, okay, Brooklyn. So I was like, wait, when was I there recently? Like, I was going and I saw that he has his thing linked, but we had already like exchanged, nudes or like preemptive, like the one, because sometimes I try to like bait them, or if they're trying to get me, like I bait to get their full album by just sending them one teaser of me, you know. So like that hotel photo of me that you saw accidentally,
Yeah.
I like to send that one as a teaser, you
They're
know.
like, oh, you like what you see?
And then they're like, oh fuck yeah, I want that smooth hole. And then like they'll send me their full album, and then I'll see if it's worth me sending my full album, right? Like I give them like a good tease. And I didn't realize this. I don't know how it came about, but then I went and saw his profile. Followed me. And this has happened to you, I think, with TikTok, you know, where you see that guys follow your account or Twitter.
No, wasn't that there was the one time that was so jarring? Did I tell you? I think I told you this. I don't think I talked about this on the pod before.
But you've met up in person.
Well, there was
you left the apartment and then you realized that you guys.
No, there was that. Yeah, there was that Sniffies. Those Sniffies tweeting.
Yeah.
But there was a time where I had sex where I fully had a man come over to my apartment. We had sex, and then when the sex was over, he goes, "Oh, you weren't kidding. Like on your TikTok, you are good at that." And I was like, I said, "What?"
Like, huh?
And he was like, "Oh, I follow you on TikTok." And I was like, "I'm sorry." We were talking, I'm sorry, for days before on Grindr, and we were just fucking for the last like hour. And we were chatting, you know, for 30 minutes before that in my apartment in my home that I welcomed you into, and you didn't feel like you wanted to let me know that you knew who I was.
And I mean, I get it. It can be something hot for these people who like us, or like you listen or don't anymore or whatever. But like this one specific guy, I noticed like he followed me, and then but I went along with it. I didn't want to acknowledge the fact, you know, that I saw, you know. So I just kept going, and he was like, "What do you do?" And I was like, "This and that," you know, like I wasn't like giving in the fact that, you know, like I wanted him to know. But then I don't know if he like from listening to like this pod like just like browsed the location and found me or something, you know, because that happened with that guy and this other guy who was like, not gonna lie, like I've listened to your podcast, and I was like, okay, cool. But it is really interesting with like the whole, and you know, New York is such an interesting city because like, yeah, people listen and they hear New York, and there's like millions and millions of people here. So it does, I'm not gonna lie, like, you know, obviously we're getting prepared for like rich and fame, you know, like all over the globe, you know, like multinational fucking like international superstar. At least me. You're gonna be more like auteur in a fucking like
No, but I will be
fucking like cabin in the woods, you know,
but very famous, but like left alone. Yeah,
but you're not gonna be in like the mags, you know. The paps are not gonna be chasing you. They're just
no, they won't
like, oh, like no, Nick.
They will. No. When I do my press run, obviously to promote what I'm doing, and then I like then I disappear for a period of time.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm constantly. I mean, when I have my team, I'm gonna be like, why
have
I not been on the fucking magazine today? Where's my press clipping for today?
No, you're literally gonna be like Taylor Swift, and you're never gonna leave the press circuit.
Absolutely. And so, but that being said, like getting recognizing New York City always feels like very interesting because it's such a fucking big place, and it really has no testament to like our egos and whatever. Like, yeah, do we want that to happen more? Obviously. Does it feel good? Yes. But when I receive it, every time I receive it, it feels like genuinely nice, you know?
That's good.
It feels and you know, it's so yesterday I was out with another pot, Rob. Hey, Robert.
Hi.
And he's about to get roasted right now because we got into a tiff. Not a real tiff, but I was making a big deal out of it because we watched 2 Broadway shows yesterday. He was like, I won the lottery for both these shows, for Sweeney Todd and Stuffs. You know, last time he went to go Sweeney Todd, I was upset, even though I wasn't able to go, that he didn't ask me to go. He was like, but you can't. And I was like, I still want to get invited, even if I can't, because I'm one of those girls.
Oh, but when I pull that, it's crickets.
Well, it's different because some invitations don't come directly from me, bitch.
Wow.
Anyway, so...
We're fighting again.
So, what are you trying to say?
Don't tell me how I'm supposed to accept invitations.
Visual learners really get the full fucking like experience because you see all of our movements and how Nick's hair literally flew all over the place.
She's luscious and voluminous.
She's lush and voluminous. So we were in between shows. We wanted to like go grab some food. We went to Applebee's. Because we were like in Times Square. Well,
I'm crying.
Like,
I'm crying.
You're crying from the
I'm
Applebee's
literally crying
experience.
hearing about that.
And then
God, I want to go to Applebee's so bad.
Girl, it was a serve. Now the food was we were really hungry, so whatever. Next time I think Olive Garden should be the choice, you know, to like to test it out. But anyway, so he was like, hey, let's actually go to like this, and it was actually really cute. It's like really like super chic rooftop bar in Midtown.
What was it called?
Theater district.
What was it called?
I freaking forgot. It's Sunrise, Starrise.
I think I've been there because there's like only like a couple of rooftop places in Midtown.
Yeah, but they are nice too, you know?
No, yeah.
This was chic. Like, it looked like it could have been like a Williamsburg rooftop, you know? That's how nice it was, but in a cool way, you know? So I was like, because, you know, like theater district, you know, like it's just a bunch of just corporate, just a bunch of this and that, and then Hell's Kitchen. So then he was like, do you think we have time? And I was like, yeah, why not espresso martini to like wake us up because we have been drinking, and like we're like, okay, right. So we walk into the lobby, and he was like, yeah, like it's like a hidden spot kind of thing. Like, people know it's there, but like it wasn't like packed, which was nice. You know, it means that like not everyone's just lining up to go, and it's nice because we were seated immediately. But we go into the lobby, and we're waiting at the front desk because we thought we had to check in to go upstairs instead of just walking to the elevator and going.
Really straight
you know?
up, yeah.
So then there's this guy standing there, and he's just like, there's like 3 like check-in stations because there's also a hotel. And so we're just in, and I'm talking to Robert, and like Robert's tall, and so like everyone sees him, and I always feel like people are just looking at him because he's tall, and like I'm sure like I have like that complex. And then we're waiting for to talk to this girl at the front desk, but then this guy's just like standing there, and he just like he was looking over, and I saw him like 2-3 times, you know, when you know someone's looking at you, you just like look at him, and I was like, I'm pretty sure he's like a girly, and I was like, okay, you know, whatever, he's just checking me out, like I'll check him out. And then Robert turns around because he was like, I think about to say something, and then he was like, where are you guys going? And then Robert interacted with him. I was just kind of like behind him, and then he was like, and he was like, by the way, I'm a big fan. And then I was like, oh, what? Sorry. And then Robert goes like, oh, what, of the show? Because we were holding the playbill for a time. And so Robert was like, oh, like what, of the show? And then I think at that point I saw him. He was like, no, I'm a big fan. He was like, oh, and I was like, oh my God. He's like, I've been to your shows. And I was like, oh my God.
No, could you imagine you're like, oh my God, thank you. He was like, no, I love Sweeney Todd.
No, that was the gag though, because Robert really thought the guy was talking about the show. And then
he said, girl, fuck you. Fuck you and your fame.
When Robert clocked it, mama. And he's probably like screaming right now listening to this, like in the commute or wherever you're at, Robert. But Robert was gagged.
Wait.
But Robert was gagged in a sense, not like just like, pop off, girly. Like, okay, Peru, sis. Come on, per diva hunty. No, Robert was just like, wait. So how does he know you? And I was like, oh, like we interacted really briefly, and like I was like, thank you so much, and I was like, I have a show, I just please come. He's like, yeah, I'll definitely check it out. Like anyway, you're great, you know, like right. And I was like, thank you. So walked away, and I was like, so where did he say he knows you from? How? I was like, Robert, like he just listened to the Michelle Collins, and like he found me through there, like came to my show on Popular Opinions in November. He was like, wait, so Robert could not believe it, and I was like, Robert, believe it or not, like. People do listen to this podcast across the fucking...
That would be me, though. I would be Robert. I'd be like, wait, what? Yeah. You listen to her? Really? Voluntarily?
You go to his shows?
Wow. I was like, some of us only go because we're forced.
It was so funny. And like, but he wouldn't give it up. And then we were on the elevator ride going up. And then he was like, I'm going to have to ask him how he knows you. And I was like, Robert, like... People know me. People know, and that's cute. But like, and I almost got upset. I was like, wait, so you don't believe people? Like, he was like, it's just crazy. And I was like, what? That people consume my fucking shows and my art? You think that's great? I was like, bitch, get ready for like when fame really strikes. You're not gonna be able to walk down the street questioning everybody. And he wanted to question this. We leave the fucking bar. We have a responsibility. We're going out, and I was like, Robert, whatever. We had already been talking about it, and I was like, whatever. And then we go down. The guy was still there because I think he worked for the hotel. Mm-hmm. And then Robert goes like, I have to ask you, so how do you know Peru? I was like, Robert, I didn't plant this guy randomly at this rooftop to like.
That would be crazy.
I didn't like palm him $5 being like, hey, can you pretend that you know me so my friend Robert's impressed?
I don't know, girl. No, that is something you would do.
I mean, that I would do a press like, hey, call the paparazzi and TMZ and be like, hey, I'm gonna be showing up. Absolutely, but not for these like fan exchanges or like interactions. And it was so funny because I was like, Robert, and then like made the guy literally detail what. I was like, Robert, do you want to get his ticket stub? Do you want him to find his email confirmation of the ticket that he was like, which show? I was like,
oh my god.
And the entire time we were walking towards Suffs, I was like, Robert, anyway, like, God forbid somebody at Suffs listens to the podcast or has come to my show, because you're going to have him go on stage to tell people that, like, how they know me.
That'd be really good press, though.
Yeah, Robert's going to be like, okay, in this one show, what did Peru say? What was the one thing he said that I was like, oh my god, Robert, you're so fucking funny.
That's funny, because it's like whenever I go with my friends, it doesn't happen to me that often, or at least I don't clock it anymore. Maybe because I haven't been as present on TikTok in the last couple of years as I was, like, you know, when I was in its heyday.
Wait, it's the fucking funny part too, because this was like from live shows too, you know, like in New York there's so many people, for people to come to your shows, it's really nice.
Yeah, no, it is nice. And like my friends would love to go to gay bars with me, like right when like my TikTok was really popping off, because anytime we would go to one, somebody would come up to me and be like, I love your videos. And then my friends would be gooped and gagged, and they'd be like, oh my god, we're with a celebrity. So like they would all want to like go out, and they're like specifically wanting to go to gay spaces because they knew that it would happen, and they would take bets. And then it hasn't really happened. I haven't really had people, no one really comes up to me anymore, which I prefer. Like if you
sure.
I was just like, if you listen, when I
famously I did get recognized over you at Julio's the other day.
No, that's great. I literally, girl, but I prefer that.
Oh yeah,
go up to Peru, not me.
Your nails were literally like on the bar. You were just like.
Yeah, that wasn't what happened. But anyway, no. But a couple of weeks ago, I was with friend of the pod, Isabel. And
Hi, Isabel.
Hi, Isabel. And our friend Bobby, because we went to go see the play that she was in, and afterwards we like went and like kind of debriefed in Washington Square Park, and we were just like sitting on a park bench, and all of a sudden like my back was to kind of where like the main like population of people was, you know, out and about that day. And all of a sudden, Isabel, who would like be looking behind me, like off my shoulder, she'd be like, "They recognize you. Oh my god, they know who you are. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "Those people behind you, they know who you are. They were like debating whether they want to come over here and say hi or not." And I was like, "Oh." And she's like, "Do you not notice that?" And I was like, well, first of all, it was behind me, so like, how was I supposed to know that? But also, I was like, no, I don't really pay attention. Like, if I see people like whispering to each other and like looking at me, I'm usually thinking they're making fun of me.
Yeah,
I'm like,
which they are.
I was like, what's wrong? I was like, what did I do? Does my hair look stupid? Like, am I wearing the bad outfit? Like, whatever. And then there were like a group of teenagers that came up to us, and she was like, they just asked if we wanted to be in a TikTok to be interviewed, and we were like, no, but thank you. And we sent them on their way. But it is like, it was just like funny. They all like freak out, and I just like choose to ignore it.
Yeah,
because it's just like, I don't know, it makes me uncomfortable.
I mean, I feel like I'm built for it, and my like ideas of grandeur aside, it was interesting to see like my friend's reaction. Like, Robert, out of all people who like loves musical theater, like really appreciates artists and artistry and performance, I'm just like, I think Robert just feels like I'm out here just doing fucking like you know, like, I don't know. I was like, Robert,
he thinks you're doing like college shows.
Yes, he's like, oh yeah, my friend Peru, who's, you know, she's just doing. I'm like, this is my career, mama. I cannot wait to like, I'm like purposely like gonna like, because of that exchange, I'm purposely gonna invite Robert to be like my first like friend date to like Oscars. Some like event, not the Oscars. Oh, sorry, Robert.
Oh wow.
That's okay. Like my mom,
wow,
and like, of course first. But like,
not even Golden Globes.
Golden Globes, I feel like, well, I mean, we'll probably be like nominated in the same year, so like we'll both go to the Golden Globes together.
What if I want to bring my man?
Which man, honey?
You never know. I might have one.
Like the Pink song, it's just you and your hand at the Globes. Tell them it's just you and your hand at the Globes.
Wow, you sound like my sister for her wedding.
Oh my god, which tea we have to like discuss if what outfit you're gonna wear.
Well, I don't get to pick.
I know, which we famously talked about, but like you need to like take a stance and be like, bitch, I want to look good.
Well, I do want to look good, but I don't think she'll let me. I think she wants me to look ugly so I don't outshine her on her day. Love you down, girl, but you know it's true. You know it's true. You know it's true.
Okay, wait. So anyway, love you, Robert. I'll invite you to some event in which like everyone's gonna be fucking paying attention to me, and Robert's gonna have to deal like in Fear Factor, or like exposure therapy. He's gonna have to be exposed to my level of like celebrity. I want to be like, Robert, we're gonna go somewhere where everyone's gonna know.
You lock everyone in a warehouse, and you're like, we don't leave until somebody says they love my work. And everyone was like, please just let us die.
Oh no, he did hate it because when we got to subs, even when two of us. Once Robert unlocked that, like the entire time we were at subs, I was like, celebrity walking through. I was like, you know me. I was like, we were like looking for our seats, and I was like, all right, Robert. I was like, everyone, if anybody recognizes me, please don't say anything, because my friend Robert does not like that. He was like, Peru, I'm gonna kill you, and I was like,
no, I would do the same thing. I'd
you
be like,
signed yourself up for this. You signed yourself up for this. Anyway, so I did get fucked and bred.
Yay! I used a condom for the last sex that I had, in case anyone was curious.
With the guy?
With the guy, yeah. He prefers, well, because he's
call me by my name guy?
Call me by your name guy. Yeah. Well, yeah. Because
that's his new title. Which hopefully he's a repeat offender now.
Well, I mean, I've had sex with him twice already. I did lie to him. I forgot to tell you. He was like, when was the last time you had sex? He's like, when was the last time you got your hole fucked? And I was like, I didn't want to tell him that I fucked a 71-year-old. So I was like, you. And he was like, really?
What?
Because he was the last one that I had sex with before, and I was like 2 months ago. Like, I think it was you.
No, it should have just been like last week, but it wasn't good.
No. Because then that led into him being like, "Oh, I like you more than you know," kind of thing. Because then he was like, "Really?" And I was like, yeah. Like, I was just being like really chill about it. I was like, yeah, I think so. And he was like, that's so hot. And I was like, well, when was the last time that you? And he was like, well, like, I've had like some boys come over and like do some like oral, but like I haven't like filled up a hole since I think you. He was like, wow, we both haven't had sex since each other. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess we haven't. He was like really into it. I don't know, but like, I love it. But I didn't want to have to be like, I fucked a 71-year-old and I shot on him. It wasn't the time, you know.
If you're a new townsperson, this is your first episode,
girl, and that man is a running joke now, because
what's the name of the episode on that one? The 71-year-old, was it? Oh, Grandpa got killed. Go listen to it. It actually has low views.
It has low views, but it's also so funny now because it's become a joke at work, because everyone will like. I have named what his occupation was like for years and years and years in the government. I'm not gonna do it on here, obviously, because then you'd be able to find him. But I like have told it to people at work, and so people will come up to me and they're like. Be like, oh, so how's the, and then they like drop his like work title, and I'm like, I haven't talked to him. Okay, he doesn't want to see me again.
Yeah, he fucking read your ass to filth and made you like fucking like not get his bath mat wet.
There was no bath mat. That's the thing.
Oh, the floor wet.
The floor was wet. Anyway.
Because he was 71. He could have fucking slipped and fucking like literally. Grandpa got killed.
Grandpa could have got killed.
Anyway, so what happened? The first guy, and I wanted to discuss this with you because actually and sorry townspeople, I know my voice sounds like raspy and tired, but they're like, what do you mean? Your audio always sounds bad.
Yeah,
like,
you always
to this.
Yeah, this is what you always sound like.
It is Pioneers and Trailblazers lore for like my audio to be fucked up. And I own that. And listen, eventually we will come back for season 2 and we will be fucking like bigger and better. But until then, please subscribe to podcasts and YouTube, because I know somebody sent us some of these fucking motherfucking hosts be sending us fucking DMs, fully fledged like listening fans of the pod. You go on the fucking profiles, they don't follow. So if you're a townsperson, if you're a fake townsperson, if you're listening right now and then you don't follow our accounts, it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't affect you. It only helps us.
ACAB also goes for Peru, I guess. In this situation, it's okay if you don't want to follow. I mean, obviously we would prefer it, but I'm not gonna attack in the way that she is.
No, but listen, because on Instagram is one thing if you don't want to follow publicly. A lot of people have burner accounts. Most people have an alt on Twitter. We've been discussing this secretly behind the pod. Like all these girlies be having alt fucking twits or X's accounts, and also when you're on YouTube. You know how many people who are like avid listeners and avid people who engage on the pod on visual learners on YouTube? A lot of these people's their fucking like account names are like XY3C000 Grimes baby daddy name.
Well, I can't
4567. So like all these people, a lot of people have accounts specifically for the things they consume.
Sure.
And so like regardless of what account it is that you're using, if it's not your primary, if it's your secondary or your burner or your secret. still use it to help us build a community and engagement.
I'm not one to talk because there's plenty of podcasts that I listen to whose people like whose
that you're like,
posts.
I don't want to see their posts. But
But like I listen to them like, you know, I consistently, and I enjoy what they do. I just don't follow them on other social media. I just like follow their podcast. But you know,
but at least you're doing one of the things. You know, you're like following.
Well, sure. Who's to say that they're not subscribed on YouTube?
Yeah, whatever. I guess we're talking about, we're at a point where, like, you know, we really want to continue growing to get to the next level for all of you guys. You know, you are so supportive and are incredible. Anyway, wow, we're really all over the place today. But
so you got fucked.
So I got fucked. Okay, so this guy. Oh my God.
Have you had sex with him?
Funniest part.
Have you had sex with him before?
First time offender. First time I was with him. And it's so funny because he lives like 5 blocks down from where I live, in the same block from where I recently, a week before, went and had sex with somebody else. Somebody who, like, I didn't speak about on the pod because I thought there might be something there. There isn't. And so now I can openly talk about that. Like, this, you know, guy, a contemporary, had a really good time, left me, like, real rug burn on my face because of his, like, scruff, but it was so hot. And, like, girl, we fucked on his like L-shaped couch because he was alone at home. He was like, just come over. And then we fucked twice. We fucked once and watched an episode of The Comeback because I recommended it with Lisa Kudrow. Love it, girl.
It's one of my favorite shows.
And then in the middle of the episode, we were just like interlacing legs and just being like cutesy and whatever. And then we started fucking again. And then he literally shoved his dick down my throat. And like I literally like almost injured my throat, but I was like loving it. And then he like fucked me so good. Oh my God, it's crazy like how these contemporaries be getting it down, laying it out. But anyway, so I went into that person's building. Now, fuck off. I mean, I'm not lying. When you watch this show, it's different than when you listen to it. It really is a completely different experience. Anyway, so I recognized the entrance of his building. Now, when I got the address from this other person, I was literally walking down this thing, and then I started typing out the first 2 numbers of the 3-number address on the same street. I knew it was the same street because I remember that street is major street. I don't want to say which street it was, but you know how when you know like that street, you know how when you know street.
When you know street, yeah,
yeah,
I know a street.
So I typed the first 2 numbers, and then in my previous history, it popped up. So I was like, wait, and then I was like, hold on a second. The guy from 2 weeks ago told me his roommates were out of town. So I had never seen this guy on the grid. So I was like, wait. And I immediately was like, wait, is your roommate's name blank?
You fucked his roommate?
I thought. But then,
my God.
So that would have been a fun story anyway. But then he was like, no, do you have pictures? And then I was like, listen, I'm going to describe you what this person looks like. And I was like, you don't know your roommate's name? And then he was like, no, that's not my roommate, but let me see a picture. Maybe I've seen them. And I was like, fuck off. Like, this is not about me, bitch. Don't make me send you a picture of some other fucking fag.
Was he the same age as the other contemporary?
They were contemporaries, yes. And so...
Close contemporaries?
Yes.
Oh, okay, just checking.
So then I immediately... it didn't even cross-reference the address again. I thought I was going in the same building, just a different floor. So I was like, okay, I've been to your building, but like, if you're saying this is not your roommate, then like, I guess, you know, it'll be awkward if I see him in the elevator. But like, I'm fucking somebody else in your building.
I wouldn't have even said anything.
But what else is new?
I would have just prayed that I didn't run into them.
So then I went into the building and I was like, I'm downstairs, and he's like, I'm down here, and I was like, no, you're not. He was like, I'm literally in the lobby, and I was like, no, you're not. And he's like, are you in the right building? I went on the wrong building. His was like 2 numbers further up the street. And it just because my Google popped it up, I just assumed that was his apartment. And I was like, I went over to the real building, and I was like, the lobbies look exactly the same. So there's like new buildings that look the same. So get to this place. Opens the door. Lights fully on. And like not even like cute.
What time of day is this?
This is like 9 p.m.
Oh, okay.
And so we go to his fucking place, and then it's like, and it's one of those things where I just, you know, the conversation had been really, you know, the conversation wasn't like thrilling on Grindr, so like I knew it was just gonna be a fuck, you know. So it's like cool. I was getting ready, mentally prepared to just get in there. He's like, my room is the second door on the left, you know, that kind of vibe. And you
Uh-huh.
just go there, you take your pants off, and just get bread.
You just get right into
You
it.
just get bread.
I don't like doing that anymore.
I like it, and I like the other things too. But he was like, no, let's just keep going all the way. And I was like, where the fuck is your room? He was directing me to the living room. So we go in the living room, and I was like, oh, okay. She was watching Shameless on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sits down and starts playing it. And I was like, he's like, do you want anything? Do you want a water or anything? And I was like, oh, I'm good. I just thought I was coming here to get loaded up.
Well,
No, he's waiting. But he wasn't even giving me that kind of like a friendly, you know, like let's get to know each other kind of vibe. He was just like, okay, come here, okay, cool. Like, so now we're gonna sit down and watch Shameless. Like, it wasn't what I was preparing myself
that's
for.
like that's like very like college is like you like invite them over and you're kind of awkward and you're like, oh, I guess we're gonna watch this TV show, sit next to each other on a couch and then maybe touch each other.
Yeah,
in the crotch.
so I was like, honey, like this is not my tea. I got things to do.
Well, if he's a contemporary, you would have understood.
No, I understood, but the thing is that I'm a fucking of a different fucking like.
You said it, not me.
I didn't say it.
You were about to. Ah!
No.
Got your ass.
No.
You better not cut that.
I'm
You better not cut
gonna have
that.
a different finesse. I'm gonna have a different level. I'm more finesse. Okay, I've been traveling the world since I was 18. Okay, like I don't like that's not what I do. And so I'm gonna fucking kill you. Anyway,
That was so funny. Okay. Continue. That was really funny.
that's the hardest I've ever made you laugh.
Yeah, that was.
Wow. Anyway, so he could tell that I was just like, yeah, you know, it's like, he was like, have you seen this show? And I was like, yeah, cool, you know. I was just, come on, like, we just came to. He was like, all right, and then I was like, are we gonna fuck here? And he was like, I was like, are you home alone? He's like, no, my room is in the rooms. And I was like,
You were gonna fuck on the couch?
I was like, what? I was like, we're gonna fuck here. He's like, yeah, it is. He started to take off his pants.
Well, his roommates were hot.
And I was like, what? And then I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, it's fine. And I was like, no, it's not fine. I'm okay with public sex, but not in a confined environment where like literally your roommates are gonna
What
come
if they
out
have
to
to pee? What if they have to pee and then go to use the bathroom?
What if they want to go get a snack? What if they want to get some chips and dip to bring back to their room? And then
That
they're
is
like,
crazy.
And then I was like, I would rather go to your room. And then he was like, oh, okay. And then he like laid back down on the couch and kept watching the show. And I was like,
And you
okay.
stayed?
And then he was like, all right, well, I guess you came here for a reason. And I was like, and then went to his room. Finally went to his room. He became, so I think it was just awkward.
I need to see what his profile looks like.
I think he was just like, yeah, I'll show you. And then I come to find out he's from Paraguay. And then he started like, we fucked, and then he didn't come. Like,
Was the sex good?
He had a nice dick. He was
I
like,
didn't answer the question. Was the sex good?
it was good. It was good. It wasn't great, but it was good.
Okay.
It did the job. It serviced it. Like he, you know, like was holding me. Like we got naked, and whatever, and like I was fully good to go. But then like we just kept going and going. And at a certain point for this kind of fuck session, where like I'm just here to fuck. Like I just want to get it done. So like he wasn't coming, and then I just kept doing the keywords like, yeah, I want you to breathe me, but then he just wasn't, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep switching positions back and forth, and then we kept sweating, and then he was like, I'm gonna take a break, and I was like, okay. And then we started talking about like where we were from, and then I told him my name, and I was like, I'm from Peru, and then he started speaking Spanish to me, and I was just like, oh, you're from Paraguay, okay, blah, blah. And then he just started talking about like his green card and like how he was like, I just want to be a housewife, I just want to be a house husband, and I was like, this is not the vibe that you were giving online at all. Like for them to turn into like we're both like just naked in bed laying down and him being like, yeah, I just want to be a house husband, like my smile, and he effectively did have a pretty face and pretty smile. And then I was just like, okay, but he was just like, I just want to get, you know, like my green card and just, you know, like be a house husband. And I was like, LOL. Well, I'm a performer. He was like, oh my god, yeah, what do you do? And I was just like this and that as always. And then I was like, well, I'm gonna go.
You didn't finish?
No, because at that point I was just like, we were just kind of being friendly, and I was like, whatever, like I just want to get my nut. So then I went back home, and then I was like, of course, once the job we're not done. So like
I would have just called it quits and just gone to
no,
bed.
I rapidly went back on Grindr, and I was just like, all right, who's on? Let me start selling my hole. And so I'm like, okay, like
you're like lowest bidder.
But then, famous neighbor that I have, RuPaul's Drag Race superstar, was around, and I was like, oh, she loves my hole. And then the timing was perfect. Sure enough, I was like about to like go to bed, and then they were just like, hey, like I'm good to go. And we have been trying to make plans around my birthday. He was like, I want to give you a birthday load, and that never happened. So I was just like, okay, like I really haven't been in the mood for him, to be honest, because like the sex can be really like hit or miss. It can either be really fun or just really boring. So then I was like, all right, well, I mean, anything will be better than Paraguay dude, you know, who just wants a green card. And so I was like, okay.
You're like, sorry, you're not gonna get that from me, babe.
I was like, sorry, honey, I'm also fucking on green card, so I'm a citizen, baby. So he was, oh, it was so, because he was like, how did you get yours? And I was like, through life, through hard work. You should try it.
Wow. Wow, you're over. Sis, you're done.
Sis, you're done. Anyway, so I go over to Miss Drag Race girl, and then I go there, and we were like, oh, girl, I tell you, he got because like he hadn't been growing out the hair, but he like had a haircut, and like, girl, he's looking good. Because last time I saw him, I was like,
I'm not attracted to him,
but you can see how he's attractive. He's got the strong features, like thick eyebrows. Like
he's a little too like, okay, he's a little too similar to me in terms of just like.
No, he's not.
No, I mean just like he's like a white person who's like very pale, pasty, brunette.
He's. Can I say this? We're back again. We did have to cut because I did spill it.
Revealed too much information.
It was a RuPaul reveal. Anyway, regardless of their ethnic background or heritage.
Heritage, sure.
Cute. Met up, and I was actually, again, with the... Fuck, damn, we're talking so much. And I know you probably want to go home. I'm not taking up your time. I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, I have nothing. It's only 7:00.
Yes, but I know your time is valuable, and I know you.
Oh my god, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm just being aware. And listen, but first and foremost, the fight wasn't because of you being mad at me.
You were mad at me.
Yeah, but. But I just want to make sure that you know that I still care about
that. No, I understand. And it's not that late. If it was like 9:00, then I'd be like, okay.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay. But we're fine. We're fine.
Okay. See, townspeople.
The sun is still out.
An ongoing thing. Yeah. Anyway, get there, and like he, like had a brand new like Tom Selleck kind of thing mustache, like super thick and on top, but like. Like 5 o'clock shadow on the rest.
Sure.
So since I'm in my like rug burn fucking era now, and I was like, okay, it felt so good when he was rimming me, because you could feel like the thick hair.
That's why I love a beard. I love a beard. I don't give a fuck. I love a beard because when they're eating your ass, it like tickles. It felt so good.
And let me tell you, it had been a couple months since I've been with Drag Race guy. The dig objectively is good. Like, it's girthy, it's long enough. Like, I had forgotten about it, and that's the reason why I keep going back, because even though sometimes the sex can be just boring, the dick still feels good. So then I remember, like, I was doing the whole thing where, like, he like threw me on the bed, but then like, like when you get to the edge of the bed and they're standing on top of you,
throat fucking.
Well, I just laid on the bed and like pulled down his underwear, and like the dick was all floppy and whatever, and then like I put it in my mouth, and I was like, oh yeah, wait, I forgot how good the dick is, and I was like, okay, I'm so excited, I came here and I saved my fucking I saved my fucking self for him.
Did you tell him that?
Girl,
I'm saving myself for you.
And he and like, oh my god, can I say this?
I mean, I don't know, girl. What are you gonna say?
Well, I'm saying this because he famously had told me this in one of our earlier conversations, like last year when we first started hooking up. He famously told me that he was into, what's the thing where they're like fart?
I don't know. Like,
It's
what
not
do you mean?
scat play, but it's called like when they just want you to like push it out. What's it called? When you push out the cum?
Felching.
Belching. Okay, so he told me a year ago he was famously into felching. And I politely said, not so into that. But like, for me, I said, you know, like my quick recovery from like being told that someone likes felching.
Because there's going to be blood.
And then me being, blood or brown or mudslide or El Nino. So for me, I don't find it hot first and foremost. I don't find it hot. I know some guys like to push it out.
Have you ever seen like an OnlyFans video where they do push it out and it is brown? It is brown. Because I've seen it. Trust and believe, I have seen it. And it's like, I get it. That's your body. And like that happens. It's a natural part of things. But I'm like, you really wanted to keep that in the video?
Because people find it hot.
I mean, I guess, but
so like when he said that, I was like, in no world, I don't think that's sexy. But even if they think it's sexy, regardless of whatever comes out, I don't think it's sexy.
Yeah,
and I feel I don't like it.
Yeah.
So my quick recovery to be like, it's like, no, like I want to keep it in. You know, like I want to keep your load in. You know,
I want to have your baby.
I want to bring it with me home. You know, so we quickly. But every time that we have sex, he always does this thing where, like, when he's rimming me, he like blows. He basically is blowing air into my hole.
Oh, I've had that.
And I think in my head, every time he's doing it, it's just like, is he just trying to provoke me
to push it out?
Because he's like boom, and he's like, but I'm just like, okay, like don't, because like my body will have to react to that, and I don't want to be provoked into felching. Tied it up.
I don't know about that, but no, I don't like that.
Surviving provoked felching. No, that'll be a B-side.
Yeah, the B-side.
But anyway, so he was doing his famous thing where he was just like spending a lot of time down there, and so like I already found a strategy where I just like get my ass out of his face, and I'm just like, all right, let's get back to making out, or like me blowing you. Fucked me again. Fucked for so long, couldn't come.
Really?
Twice in a row, same night.
What is happening with our dicks?
And I was like,
what is happening to the dicks in New York City?
What is happening to the New Yorkers? And I mean, I understand sometimes like you're fucking too long, or like you lose, you like, I don't know, you have to find the right spot. But let me tell you, like, I'm primed and ready. Like, I can get these guys to come. I don't know why both of these guys couldn't come back to back. And at that point, I was just like, okay, we just keep going. We're sweating.
Sounds like a skill issue.
No. At that point, it's just like clearly, we're wet and everything. And it's just like, okay, I don't know what else to do. And I'm not, unfortunately, a person that just wants to lay down and just jerk off. Like, for me, when like,
jerking them off?
Well, I like to do that and then go back to fucking, but I'm not just a person who's just like, oh, like, do you just want to jerk off? Like, I don't find that, like, I'll just go home and take care of myself. Like, if we're done fucking and no one can come, then I can just hang out, and chat for a little bit and then just get dressed. Like, I'm not, unless we're gonna go back to fucking.
Yeah, I normally do that too, because then normally the top would never jerk me off to finish. They would finish inside of me, and then they'd be like, okay, well, yeah. And I was like, oh, yeah. So then,
at that point, I was like, it's like 1 a.m. Like, it's like two, not failed attempts, but incomplete attempts. And so at that point, I was just like, all right, I want to head out. And then I was like, what are you up to? He's like, I'm just, working, just in town for some gigs. And I was like, okay. And I was like, all right. Well, I instantly came home.
You haven't gotten free tickets? You haven't asked?
No, we've never talked about that.
You never been like, hey, I'd love to come see a show?
No, we've never fully acknowledged the fact that he is who he is,
You haven't offered, but been like, hey, girl, I have a show coming up. You should come see.
I have been starting to do that with some of the people from, Influence, and there's a lot of stuff that I'm working on.
But not with the famous ones?
There's actually some good favors. We talked about, like, I mean, I can say this now because I don't work for it anymore, but, like, there was, again, Miss Robert, you also know this. I was approached by Netflix at one point, and I can say that openly, and I'm very proud of that. It was a really special moment in my life, and I'll say that. That has passed. But
but you know,
the fact that I was in the peripherals and in the eyesights of people,
100%,
it was very special to me.
Yeah,
and I will hold that very dearly.
And the universe always says it's either yes, not now, or something better.
So, for my show, I'm starting to, like, you know, get some people that are of influence from our job, and I feel like finally the connections and like the good work I've put into our mutual establishment place of work are gonna start to pay off, because I am contacting people and being like, hey, if you would like to come see my show, and I've gotten some really good responses. And then that one person, I'm contacting them and has always been very supportive, and so, like, you know, there are things that are happening. But as far as like the Drag Race girl, I'm just like, okay, well, I would just want to get other people who like have like a good following to take a picture of them going to my show or something, you know.
Do you have a pioneer?
Oh yeah, my pioneer this week is gonna be the. Okay, so at Suffs, our second show yesterday from Broadway. Our first row at Sweeney Todd was like a youthful row, you know, good, because you have to like get people to stand up when you want to go, you know, between Act 1 and Act 2, or like when you arrive and people are already seated, people have to stand up if you're in the middle of the row.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't an issue for Sweeney Todd. Girl, our row for Suffs, the row behind us was all gays. So that would have been an easy row to get in and out of, because the gays are good at that.
Yeah.
Our row was all old people. Sorry, old people. Love y'all. You don't have much time left.
You're ageist.
But they were all but real old people. Not just like white hair old people, but they were just like in the seats. Like there's the old kind of old people that like have to get support to stand up.
Oh, okay.
Not with a walker though. I wouldn't make fun of that.
Right, but if you're close to it,
get one. So like we get there and literally Robert and I see the row, and then we're like, okay, we have to go pee and do all of our business before
the show starts. Yeah,
because they're gonna. So we go, and then Act 1 finishes, and of course we want to refill our drinks and get some snacks, and go pee. So we have to leave the row after Act 1. We go. They were so upset that they were just like annoyed that we were leaving, and it's like, sorry, like we have to go. I was like making a joke. It's like, my bladder is so small. Pioneer of the week for the guy when we came back for the third and final time to reclaim our seats before the beginning of Act 2. This old ass fucking dude being like, you know, I have sciatica.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, like what does
that have to do with anything?
Like, I still have to go. Oh, you have sciatica? Oh, I guess I'll just sit in the fucking aisle then. I guess I'm not gonna go sit back in my seat. So, you have
Isn't
sciatica?
that like an eye thing?
Sciatica is your sciatica. Your back sciatica. And that's just me knowing science. Okay? And just knowing the body.
Right.
Your sciatica.
See, I'm too young. I wouldn't know what that is.
No, I'm so young, but I'm also knowledgeable. Sure. And I'm intelligent. So pioneer for him to just be like, using that as a way to, I guess, us not annoy him to get up. So we were just like, okay. Anyway, excuse us. Like, you still have to get your ass up so we can seat.
And that's the pioneer.
And I'm glad that women have the right to vote. And I hope he gets stripped of his.
Wow, okay.
And he was white.
My Trailblazer of the week, it's going to be a double. I have two. The first one, I've really been into the song Love On by Selena Gomez. Cringe, but it's so, I don't know, there's something about that song that is so like it's an earworm. It's just so catchy. I'm not a Selena Gomez stan, but that song is...
Yeah, you've talked smack about her.
No, I do talk a lot of shit about her, but that song is really good.
And then Selena, I love you.
My part
work with you.
My part two is a guy that I had sex with once in college messaged me on Grindr, and he says, and it looks like you've gotten really hunky since we last met. Possible? I think that's what it says. Look. I just like the possible. Thank you. Yeah, no, I've been hitting the gym. So, and he's a Trailblazer. I
wouldn't say hunky.
Wow. I literally put the Twunk tag on my Grindr.
Did you really?
Yeah. Should I not? Should I take it out? Am I not giving Twunk?
I don't think you're a twunk. I think you're a full-on twink, honey.
Really? Because, like, I feel like I'm too...
Twunk implies like you're just like, yeah, I'm twunk.
Well,
but
twunk,
you're not that.
Twunk is, like, a little bit, like, more, like, built than a twink. And, like, I'm not...
Yeah, but your energy's twink. You don't have twunk energy.
I mean, I guess, but, like, physically speaking...
Twunk energy, title of app.
Well, anyway, I just thought that was funny. So, he's a trailblazer for the week, and I probably will have sex with him again. He's an artist. He's a photographer. Rich. Like, literally, when I had sex with him, he has I'm not gonna, like, dox where he lives, but he has a loft. He lives in a loft.
Oh.
And the first time I ever had sex, he picked me up in his car.
That's sexy.
From my dorm my senior year. And then his dick is huge. He's old, though. He's in his 60s.
Listen, all those flashy guys, though, let me tell you from my experience. I told you about this story when I was in Louisville, Kentucky, touring with a show.
Yeah.
The guy who was in national news for being a scam artist.
No.
Wait, what? Oh.
Wait, girl.
We'll save that story for the next ep. Next ep, let's talk about our scamming stories. Wait, that's a great theme for next week's ep.
Okay, great. Scams.
Scams. Have you ever gotten scammed? Oh, it was on a national news.
Really? Oh, well then that will bring me my story about someone who was made national news because they were caught in an FBI sting. Someone that I fully went on a date with.
Oh, well,
so babe,
if you want to hear that episode,
tune in next week.
And also do things while waiting for that ep. I sounded like AI. Do things while waiting for that ep. I don't know why I'm looking at your computer.
I don't know either. Look at the camera, babe.
Please like and subscribe this episode if you haven't done so already.
Subscribe this episode.
Subscribe this episode, please. Make an account just for this episode and then subscribe to it, please.
Okay.
We're at Pioneers and Trailblazers on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
And Instagram.
Yes, please go ahead, give us a like, and if you haven't subscribed...
And TikTok. We're on TikTok at Pioneers and Trailblazers.
Listen, again, we've been talking about this for a few weeks. It bears repeating. If you haven't followed us yet, please do so. If we can ask you for a huge favor for this episode specifically, if you really love us and care for us girls, drop a comment on the YouTube video. Just anything that you found funny.
Yeah.
Any shout out. Say, hey, Miss Peru. Hey, Miss Nick. Or your favorite moment or something. Just drop a comment. Those comments really help get those, like, you know, the video seen to other people that may be on their algorithm or whatever. Same thing with Instagram. If you see something that we're posting, comment on it, you know, or you don't even have to share it if you don't want to. We get it, you know, like, it's whatever, to each their own. But things like commenting really make a difference in, like, what the thing calls engagement.
Sure. And you can follow Peru at HeyPeru everywhere. And you can follow me at Nicholas.Rose on Instagram, ClownfaceBinch on TikTok, ClownfaceBitch on Twitter/X.
And before we say goodbye, the polls we're in, most of you want the special episode to be Friend of the Pod episode feature. There are a lot of logistical issues with that, primarily because a lot of the friends of the pod have really serious jobs that they quite literally don't want any of the conversations that we have here
to be public.
Because they deal with members of the public that perhaps are not of age.
Sure, children.
So it's going to be difficult. However way we figure it out, we'll deliver that for you and we'll let you know when.
Okay, gorgeous.
And we love you guys.
Love
Thank you for supporting.
Thank you. Bye.